Assalamualaikum askan bi Ismaila dellusiwaat nag si beneen episode Campeh Jambarr fii as part of the Daily Dose but also extension of Jambarr Male Vitality Project boo xam ne Innovrec started it with one mission, just building healthier men through health, well-being. Health comes in different forms: physical health, mental health, spiritual health, financial health. So kontaan rek saa yuñ dellusiwaat pour mun a waxtaan di jaajëfal tamit di gërëm ñi dee seetaan. We're almost 16 episodes in. Project bi buñ ko dooroon luñ si gëla yëpp ñun séntuñ ko woon. Why engagement has become part of, day-to-day conversations. Nit yi ñu nekk Gambia, ñu nekk, in the diaspora. Ñëpp kontaan nañ si ñu ñoo yokkal xalaat so di leen wax ne jërëjëf. Yéen a tax ñuy yaatal waxtaan bi rek. ñu bari den dee wax ne nag ñun lu nit du dee bañ a wax ñun foofu lañ dee dem. waaye loolu moo gën a am solo parce que waxtaan yoo xam ne si campé bi la daan am fu mu nekk nii in this day and age mun nañoo gestu yóbbu ko su ko defee àdduna si yëpp mun see njëriñoo. booy nag ñëw nañ tey waaye tey moom special episode la because ñu ngi am gan bu rëy suñ brother bu baax bi Mohamed Mbye ñëpp xamee ko Swaggy Mo as well waaye naa bàyyi moom mu gën a introduce boppam pour wax leen moom mooy kan. waaye bëggoon a doore rek parce que ñu ne nit ki moom soo gisee lu muy def lu baax danga ko war a gërëm si kanamam. Mohamed Mbye suñ brother la waaye àdduna bi yëpp man lu ma dee seetlu moom liggéeyam online tax na ba daf dee sigil góori Sénégal bi daf dee sigil góori Gambie daf dee sigil góori Afrique yëpp te loolu dañoo use pour waxtaan tey pour seet góori africain bi naka la ñu dee àdduna bi gisee mooy nekk suñ waxtaan bi tey. ba pare suñ regular campagne yi ñëw nañ waaye tey da ngaa gis ne boss bi sax dañ ko indi Mohamed Gando Ba mu ngi si studio bi pour mu bokk si waxtaan bi because fii place am la moo ñu dee yaatal so naa bàyyi booy ñi nekkaa nuyu wante Ibrahima Delsina ak Greywood ñu bàyyi Gando den ñu jox floor bi suñ brother bu baax bi Ibrahima si yow la ñoo dooree de.
waaw asalaamaaleykum maa ngi nuyu ñi ma bokkal plateforme bi tey di wax suñu gan bi welcome to the family. di ko am kontante di delluwaat si beneen Campeh Jambarr épisode di wax ne tey moom waxtaan bu very very bu important bu nga xam ne am na solo la te ñëpp dinañ si jàngee daal di delluwaat di wax suñu gan bi rek you welcome.
Thank you
and feel at home.
jërëjëf Greywood. waaye dang ñu jam faa nag.
no bàyyi loolu
waaye man foog naa ne daf la bëgg ma tool épisode rek gis ma boy bi mu ngi gaare sa insights waaye ñu ngi laa nuyu
good waaye salaam di nuyu ñëpp di kontaan si this platform de gërëm yokka naka gërëm Gando ak Dr. Badji and able brother here for honoring the invitation today comme di wax askan bi ñëwaati nen tey pour joleen beneen xibaar at this pour ñu wataane something loo xam ne dafa important boo xam ne ni ñun yëpp inclusive nen sakatuma Africans so I'm just using this platform to ne hi and I'm back in the platform thank you.
jërëjëf Gando.
Campeh Jambarr.
ba yaa ngi doog a ñëw si Campeh bi
maa ngi soog a ñëw invite la ma depuis kañ.
da ñu dee seetaan rek waaye doo dee agsi waaye tey agsi nga.
Yeah, man.
What's up man nakam.
Thank you for having me on the segment. ñu ngi ñëw ñëpp. Man nag léegoo-léeg sama olof bi daf day mel ni it's like now it jumps on and off.
nga door pol rek.
So pol bi sax taxut a baax noonu léegi. You understand, But yeah, man, thanks for having me. More welcome.
jërëjëf.
I saw the video the last time about Apple, the Vision Pro.
Oh, yeah.
I've been dying to put my hands on that, man.
I should have brought it.
Definitely should have brought it.
Yeah, I should have.
But yeah, Doc, thanks for having me.
No, excited.
Thanks for
Swaggy Mo.
Yeah.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, brother. Obviously, a lot of people, I tell people in your buddy, you could see different versions of people.
Yeah.
I feel like Swaggy over the years, and we just communicate online oftentimes because he says certain things where I feel like he's speaking for me. Dama si dee gisuma boppa daal si lu bari lum dee wax somebody who lives in the diaspora, somebody who lives in America and knows all the stereotypes, but somebody who's unapologetically African, unapologetically proud, but also you're defining masculinity in a lot of ways in the way you take care of yourself. But either way, who is Mohamed Mbye? Tell us a little bit of a story. Who is Mohamed Mbye?
Assalamu alaikum suma mbokk yi ma leen di nuyu di leen sant man nag fana la
Man, so body farafanya ni body ngeen fufula judo.
Papa waroon naa ñëw de. Nañ fi boy Farafanya
Mbaru.
Okay, Papa Omar.
Mbaru.
Yeah.
Waaw man fufula body fufula judo. Yaroo foofu noonu ba ma am daanaka 15 boobu la dem New York commencé jàng foofu noonu and just been staying there all for a while but yeah bu ma demee man moom suma story bi dafa xala naka la ko waxee sax suma story bi dafa xala njàng quoi xam nga daanaka daal bu ma commencé school I knew from that moment on that like I wanted to live a life that was a little bit different. Now, bëgg mën a like am life boo xam ne dama dem liggéey rek ñëw wàcce liggéey ñëw wàcce. I knew that I had to do something that was a little bit different. So bu ma nekkoon school like I already had that mindset that like okay this is the path that I wanted to take. And that's how I started like pick up modeling and I started actually studying YouTube when I came maybe like 2016 or 2017 like come out on YouTube. Yeah, y'all gonna see like
Early.
y'all gonna see. So my come out YouTube di tagga why dara damut man acha. Okay, you come out at Instagram. So Instagram ben come out to pick up. But even Instagram is a pick up with lu yago final maybe like 2021 you know. Or like come I say like some of my posts started going viral and stuff like that. But come I said dev content, y'all gonna throw up. So I already got all the reps in. So I've shot maybe thousands and thousands of videos that never really went anywhere. And ever since I feel like now I'm getting a lot of recognition in terms of like just my Pan-Africanist mindset or just viewpoint. But to me, that's kind of how I've always been. How I've always been operating and kind of like, talking. But it's just now that my voice is, projecting outwards a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm going to mostly speak in English because I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier for me to kind of relay the message. But yeah, ever since that, I've been blessed enough to be able to work with a lot of different brands, the Sephora's, the Hyundai, Apple, and all these other companies. But I feel like it's very important to kind of keep that mindset and keep that message going. I feel like oftentimes it's easy for us to get to a certain level and then fate ñëpp ñu nekkoon si gannaaw. Like, te loolu man nekkuma sa affaire yooyu fa naa daal like su ma demee suma dëkk bi sax suma dëkk bi ma juddoo sax ñu ma doon ma nekkoon xale ñu ma doon like take care ñu ma doon jox lekk ñëpp ñu ngi fa. So léegi nii du ma mën a dem ba ma ne léegi ok mën naa raxas suma gannaaw léegi nii damaa fàtte ñi ñëpp wala ñi maa leen wane maa leen gën a yooyu noonu xam nga. So loolu jaaduwut. So that's always been my mindset to just know that like regardless of how far you make it in life to never just keep so spearheaded to the point where you don't think about anybody else that came from where you came from and helped you when you possibly couldn't help yourself. So, no matter how far I'm going, there's always, 3 steps behind me. That's kind of like just keeping eyes and ears on the street and making sure that like, I'm still kind of very rooted and connected with where I'm coming from. So, yeah.
I'm going to key lumwa and I'm glad that you can make a setan, you get dig a lumdon wa. Like you got it reps. I'm going to be when you don't want the young Africans or even Gambians, then yakamti. Then they talk like get swaggy more, like over 1 million views, see video and fucking buy my tier camera. True. But you've been shooting in the dark for a while. Most of the times like championship, and then they when most champions are not made in the ring, but it's in the practice arena. Who can make with the as well too. So over 10 years. He's been on the content game as well too. So the byproduct is what they're seeing now. Because I'm got social media, it's a drug. Yeah. And most people like the shortcut as well too. But understanding the consistency that it takes for you to, one, defy the path, where in the beginning, niti munela when they say, yo, yange waste of time, lo nekari def X, Y, and Z. But nga gum darane yo, nila la yala been there to a point where ga TSC, but also staying grounded. Because in your content as well too, we see that your dean is still where it needs to be, your nutrition, your fitness. In terms of just dedicating yourself to something that's your craft, because I feel like your voice is a responsibility at this point. Right? So in terms of just the reps.
So the reps, I feel like, however much I put it, I feel like it's an understatement. Because should not, but over 2,000, 3,000 videos, different videos, bro.
Wow.
Different videos. And maybe only 2023, 2022, like come on, say like, look at any type of money from content.
Wow.
So from 2016, 2017 up to 2023, bro. Dada. But man, come on now, man, like, yàlla num amul benn doomu aadama bu nga xam ne nii mu ngay liggéey YouTube wala def Instagram def nii amuñ dara loo xam ne nii man amuma ko suma bopp. So I knew it was only a matter of time. But also man tam mënoon suma yàkkamti woon mënoon naa dugg si yoo xam ne nii it would have been easy for me to just go viral. It's not that difficult. I already kind of been figured it out. But come on naa ne daal I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted to still be fully autonomous in a sense that I wanted to be able to control my own narrative. I didn't want to put myself in a box and just, get the numbers and get the views and get the money. But I wanted to get to a point where I control my voice and control my narrative. And I feel like that's so important that a lot of people don't understand it, or a lot of people don't want to put the sacrifice that it takes to get there. Because, there was even up to now, there's a lot of brands that I have to turn down.
Yeah,
a lot of brands, a lot of sponsorship that I have to turn down because they just don't align with me. But also, I'm able to do all of that because I knew that all the reps that I was able to put in for all the years, and regardless of how much I was struggling financially, I was still okay to a degree. And so I know that if I was okay then, now that I'm making a lot more money on top of it, I'll be good. It would be like almost me being disobedient for me to go and follow something that doesn't necessarily align with me spiritually, And so oftentimes I feel like people don't understand the idea of like repetition. My friend Baba talks about this all the time, like Baba Janya. Yeah. And when I tell you, like, just being around this guy too, another Gambian designer, John Dako, just seeing how much, like, respect and how much dedication he puts into his craft, kind of just, I was already on that mindset, but it just rewired everything that I was doing. Because this guy literally, like, Baba, studio mbi, mungi fi. Dafa dëkkoon like maybe like almost like 10 minutes or like 15 minutes walk or something like that from the studio. Dafa move jimam baa ngi fii léegi nii, studio one block. Studio baa ngi fii, këram baa ngi fii, Whole Foods ngi nii.
That's it.
That's
his
it.
whole life.
That's his whole life. So dafa dem liggéey, dem gym, dem jënd lekk, ñëw kër. That's it. So seeing that, and I'm just like, wow. Like, but you also see where he's gotten to in life, and the designs and all the things that he's able to cook up is just like, it's outwardly. But it all comes with the dedication and him being, really fully focused and pouring into what he said he was going to do. And so just that's the kind of mindset that I want to spew out there into people and let them know that, like, hey, it is possible. And it's going to take a little bit more time, but it is very much so possible, and you can do it. And I feel as though I'm talking a little bit too much, but
it's
I feel like oftentimes we don't explain the process too much to people. And I just had to, I made a YouTube video talking about how I got myself basically almost in $70,000 worth of debt, to really pursue what I wanted to pursue, because going to school, I had to take out debt. And then on top of that, all the cameras and all the equipment, it was investments that I had to, and I can't call my mom and be like, yo, I need $30,000 to buy camera equipment. They're going to look at me like I'm crazy because they didn't see my vision. But also I can't blame them. The vision was given to me for a reason. So whatever steps I needed to take to get there, I needed to take. But alhamdulillah, I've gotten to the point where I'm not too proud. And regardless of how far the journey was or how many mishaps or missteps I took, I knew that it was for a reason. And I knew that, God put me through that to humble me, but also to kind of make me some sort of like a guidance, to other people who might be going through the same process, because I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. And you might, start content today and blow up. That's cool. But also you might start and take a lot longer than I did. But also as long as you know that, like, hey, I'm creating from a higher place. I'm creating from a place that, speaks to me. You know, I feel like that's what a lot of people don't get. That's really how my content is not about me sitting down writing different content ideas. It just comes to me in the most random ways, and I just act upon it, and then another one comes. But all of that kind of like just came with just being like really grounded and kind of working on that. So,
you know, what do you guys hear? Because you know, for me, it's fascinating. Because in there when they kuneka yalo lumla made up, they buganga jamu ko. Kosoko jamu yange jamu yala. And very few people understand. More than they when they don't want to neka serin lo neko Taliban as well too, because it's a worship, and that's why oftentimes yala munala make gifts, and you disrespect the gift. You don't honor the gift.
That's true.
You better look definitely in delta me. Munga data where it comes natural. Why balanyo ubilinisa is always important more punyuman, and what moment did it click? Because then when even if you're playing professional sports or you're doing anything, at some point you're in a flow state, and what could be moving really fast to everybody else, things start slowing down. It's almost like the Matrix, where now you've achieved mastery, where you start seeing 1 and 0. You don't see, you know, at what moment did that click? Because it's just reps. After a while, it's muscle memory because you've entered mastery till you don't even realize it. But now you figured out the code. At what point, was there a moment or a video that you could go back to where you're like, oh, the world's in trouble now. Like, I figured this out.
I think I had a lot of those moments, but I think the one that was the most pivotal was when I made it to a program called Sephora Squad. So Sephora Squad, more like a program about how much, not 13 or 14,000 you apply on, and 50 you do go on. So my book on 50 bobo. So that when I knew, that's when I knew that like my voice meant something. But I feel like beforehand, just kind of just hearing feedback from people, because you know, but when I come out on content, I always knew that I wanted to make content that was very meaningful, not just, you know, the ordinary thing. When people come to me, and when people start me, it's all about, you know, kind of like the content, the actual content of the content that I'm making, if that makes sense, you know, and not just the fluff. Oh, your outfits are nice, but it's actually like the message that I talk about. And that's always been my goal. So even when things weren't hitting, I knew that like, as long as I'm able to hit that one person, that's all that mattered. And I know it's cliche to say oftentimes, but like, nekumondi call dal okay dama bëgg dem viral nele like man mom suma content bi ba légui benen nit la waxal suma wax yow la waxal wala yow la waxal as long as mu touch la rek, that's it. You know, so that was like one of my most important pivotal things that I've carried until this day, because if I can touch you, then I can touch you. If I can touch you, then I can touch you. So I wasn't so fully focused on like going international or going all over the place, because I knew that my village or my community was always going to find me. And that was like one of my most like driving forces. So to just be like, yo, keep on going, because your voice is needed out there. And I know it can sound a little bit braggadocious, but I've had to do a lot of work on myself, you know, to the point where I'm not necessarily identifying too much with my ego, you know, and I feel as though that's why I'm able to talk about a lot of the failures, quote unquote, that I had to, you know, go through. I could be, you know, make it to where I am and be like, okay, bet, you know, everything was peaches, everything was smooth, like, you know, but it's just like, what benefit is that really doing to somebody else that came from where I came from and is able to, and is trying to get into what I got into? And I feel like a lot of times people don't understand how difficult it has been for me to adapt to the new lifestyle. I was living in the village when I was 15 years old. Like my cousin would tell you, I literally did not touch a computer until I was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
I'm 29 now.
Damn.
You know, did not touch a computer until I was 15 years old. So oftentimes the people that were here, like Sarakunda, they were a lot further off than I was, you know, because I was coming from such a primitive kind of like background in a sense that I did not have access to anything, you know. I had to learn how to read. So literally like when I went to middle school, I was literally reading children's books just to be able to kind of like adapt and learn how to speak properly, you know. But all of those things I knew where I wanted to get to one day. I knew that it was going to be a time that I was going to be speaking in front of thousands of people. I was going to be speaking in front of universities and colleges, you know, and all of these things I kind of like envisioned. And I knew that like I couldn't let my ego hold me back from doing the necessary work that I needed to do to get there, you know? And so because of that, I had to just, you know, keep on pushing.
That's wild, because even on your profile, there's a picture of you standing at a Harvard Business School.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's saying this, I'm thinking about the 15-year-old boy,
Jeez.
you know, who was just there not too long ago. That's not even like 15 years ago.
It's not.
And now you're all over LA, obviously doing great work with brands, with people like Baba as well too, which is like such a powerful, you know, Gambian moment as well too. But I'll allow you guys just to kind of reflect on it. And that's why even today, watan bi motan ñu bëggoon ñu watan in terms of aduna bi naka la dee gisee nit ku ñuul. Because I think there's a shift. I've always said ne ñu ko yëgut xëj na ñu ngeen nelaw. Waaye ñun jóg nañ.
True.
Te léegi like we're telling people who we are, naka lañ ko bëgg a doxalee, luñ mun ak luñ gën a mun than everybody else, because the narrative has shifted. But before we dive into that as well too, obviously ñun ñëpp ñun ñu yaree la. And sometimes I feel like dañu yar pour ñu tëju. We talked about pride and ego. Why tamit gom sa bopp, I think is different from pride and ego. And I remember one of the videos that he did that went viral was like, no, like we are actually dope. We got to believe in our capabilities as Black people. It's actually dope to be a Black person. Teruse uloka and stuff. But I'll allow you guys just to kind of reflect on a lot of things that I think are meaningful. Because nobody you go dig then see what it gets sent as well too. And oftentimes you can't be what you can see. So I'm not boy but you get Satan. They've probably been following this guy for a very long time. How much boy fara fenya la joge, you know, as well too. But I'll allow you know, Gando, you could go first and then we'll allow.
I'm digesting everything he said. I'll let Greywood jump first.
Lost the hell out of Grey.
No man, luma si halad monica come his life story is very motivational. Yeah, because you coming from a background, you coming from a background but amulon that basic education, amulon that exposure. Bepere nga nekulone come move from rural urban, what nga move nga them to the diaspora, another culture, another way of living, like you know, you have to adopt to that. So plus no more transition change. Bepere tamungi I'm on that concept in mom ne come this is what I wanted to do. Come man lol mom gonna move. When he was in that stage, come mungi neka si village where you know, but still I'm not that mindset that tomorrow I'm gonna be somebody. You understand? Them na be feeling legis na ne muno na mo rus wala mu shy away because he was that old who read children's books and all those things. But he was doing it because he has a vision. He has, you know, something projecting in his mind that, you know, yeah, my future is clear as long as I believe and focus. Wow. So most of Gambia fini we don't actually check on the background story. We don't check behind it. Wow, you finished product bilen they gis lota most of them they stray. You do extra wala nga dem def lo xamne is out of your way just pull nga ega fu koku nonu ega, but you don't know the struggle.
Wala ñu na da nga lucky.
Thank
you.
Lucky
Timing bi la.
Last time bi bu amon session bobu no bu mo na wa affaire entrepreneurship nga ba boy ba lolo. Fi so ne ko de talibé do mu na neka sering something. Wow, do mu na just snap ni rek nga reach somewhere. Yeah, but
the process.
Loving the concept, comme nu moy relate his content with his culture. Ak nu moy muna involve people the world know about, you know, his culture, about his people. But by the time people before mu di nek da nga feel sa bop nga am that sense of pride. Hey, somebody is doing like this, because in Gambia definitely we don't have somebody to emulate or to mentor. Halay dun ko de gis. Fi lun de gis rek is, you know, crazy. But people like you doing something great, like many Gambians are looking up to you. You understand? Many Gambians are looking up to you because of like you had that dream. Come just me too. Man lola de yaga halana because man I know that one day in life I will reach out and my voice will be heard. Because man
you're already there, boy.
It's already being heard.
Definitely. Because man I have this Pan-African concept. I have this sense of you know belonging. Dama hamne come ñun dañu deprive wala dañu génné def ñu a minority in the world. Well, we are the world. You understand? Wow. So legi we don't have pride in ourselves. When we see the next color, we worship them as God.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Come God figure them.
We'll do
Yeah.
this topic, but we're coming to we're coming to Pan-Africanism because I think we're gonna touch on that as well.
But what he's doing, is really like he is a Pan-African. Yeah, because munge proof munge yobu the culture. Do designs and craft that relates with us. So tomorrow, Elek Bill, celebrities and everybody, if they're wearing this brand or using this product, it's, going back to us. The credit is going back to us. It's African made. You understand? It's from Africa. The design is from Africa. So it will take Africa to that platform. They will not take us ordinary anymore. Yes. Because right now we are in the awakening. You understand? Most of the people come in there and hey, our ancestors are the Anunnakis, so we are the creators, like we're the gods and something. Like most of the people in the diaspora are having the change of mindset. And most of African too are having a change of mindset, seeing themselves, to that point. Because right now, if you look at all the religious figures in the world, they're white. You understand? Everything history is white. So there, Lulu will not give you that sense of pride, will not give you that sense of purpose. You just be like, because you know yep. Yeah, man, but thanks.
Wow, story it's very interesting and feel na ne ñi nga xamne aga nañ fofu won nañ di gëna di share sen story kon lu William wax because they nit lu ñoo gis may end result rek and then they'll judge or say whatever they want to say but feel na ne so gëné nga share sa story dina jangal ñu bari dina tax ñi fa bëgga aga dinañ xamne duñ top rek aga fa dafa jël time mom si lu wax around 2016 2017 la started def but hit it by around 2021 2022 so lolu jël na time te hit na du ñaka tollu won na stage bo xamne bëggon na mo give up but just dedication hanga mu keep on pushing Mohammed dina ko make one day and then here he is right now so feel na ne anyone out there ko xamne mu ngi try to jay culture the try pour jay Africanism bu mu nekk fu mu joggé they should just keep pushing and with ñun suñ support they will reach where they want to reach.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, as a content creator, I'm a content creator to a certain extent. I definitely I can relate to putting in the reps. It's not an easy field.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's nice when you're watching content on the screen, but to create that content is definitely not easy.
Wow.
Editing, you need to learn how to edit, you need to learn how to use the tools, you need to learn how to set up your camera. It's a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, he said a lot of things that I definitely relate to because I spend a significant amount of time in the village, farming and doing village stuff. So I can relate to moving to an area where it's completely different.
And hating farming.
I know. I hated farming.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Me too. I wasn't.
Gando Baker la won. How
People know that. When people talk about farming, like we glamorize it. It sounds nice. You go, you put a seed and then it grows and you have food. No, it's a lot of work. Your hands are messed up.
Wow.
Ngadam si alabi. I'm not yana flowers. You haven't I'm like jam. Put jam line. You have like this big boil for weeks. It's not fun.
It's not sexy.
But yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, it definitely sounds like someone who can adapt easily to an environment that you put in, and I think it's something you get from where you're from. The discipline and what's been instilled in you. Yeah. I guess a question that I have is like, did you used to daydream a lot? Like, did you see yourself in a place where you are now?
I feel like at some point. Yes, not too long ago, I started reading a lot of books that started talking about those things. One of the books I read, The Science of Getting Rich. It's a really, really good book. Think and Grow Rich as well. It's a really, really good book, Napoleon Hill. I started kind of dabbling into a little bit of those things, but oftentimes I felt like I was just in a trance. Like, the more like deflect. Parce I'm on it like just one day. Like, no more than definitely than a sortie, So I just knew to just keep grinding. That was literally my main thing because the more like, look, like is you can't be something you haven't seen before. Oftentimes, so gisuma woon kenn ku nga xam ne nii jógee na fu ma jógee like suma background te def lu ma def xam nga so like fu ma nekk fu ma toll nii musuma woon a xalaat ne dinaa fi mën a egg sax xam nga waaye léegi like based on just how far I've come xam naa ne daal like I'm just at literally the tip of what I'm able to achieve you know and I feel like just like that discoverability is now to an all-time high because I'm getting, you know, reached out to host all different types of like Pan-African, you know, programs and anything that has to do with uniting our people, you know, is something that I'm kind of like being looked at as being a host and being a person that's leading that movement forward, you know, and that's always something that I've wanted to do because I feel as though, like, I'm not you tutti how many like like everybody that's within the diaspora, there's some very small things, minute things that you divide in hunger. So those are the things that I just wanted to kind of like just really kill, you know. And one of them was, you know, African Americans thinking that like, you know, like Africans well then hater you know, all of those things. Most of my videos is really making a video directing to African Americans like yo, like well Africans you know like you literally looked at you like family, you know. But if you don't come sir yo African Americans you I'm not you many come yo I'm not you many come man I'm not you many I guess so cousin you know you wouldn't even know you know you in Africa but you wouldn't know that like oh you know, I look so different. You just be a normal, average person walking around. Like, nobody's going to be looking at you like, oh, this person is from America. We don't like... So it's just like that whole mindset, you know, and that narrative is what I really wanted to kill. And I feel like it's now getting to the point, especially with social media, where they knowing that like, yo, you come here, you literally get treated like royalty. Like, and that's even our culture. But I'm a gun. Like, I talk to the salvi sa gan bi naka mu toog wala nga jox ko sa néeg. So like just that mindset alone is what I'm trying to like help them understand that our culture, we not meant to even be rude to like a stranger, even though you're family, but you know, it's a little bit distance and you guys are living over there and we living here. But it's like there's no point where you will come here and you would get that type of like reaction type vibes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So on the Pan-Africanism, are Gambians Pan-African?
Gambians.
Do they believe in the spirit? Do they embody the spirit of Pan-Africanism?
No. Maybe few. Yeah.
Ghana has a video.
Because most of them...
Why?
Because they think that our ancestors or our forefathers were nothing. If it was not for the white man, we would have not been anywhere or we would have not been anything. And the funny thing is that they didn't realize that how can civilization start somewhere, you know, like Africa, and then later on, you know, ends in the diaspora, like in.
But how do you define Pan-Africanism? How do you define Pan-Africanism?
How do I define Pan-Africanism? It's like prioritizing or loving who you are.
Okay.
Yeah, loving who you are, representing it and being it. It's not to project it or to demand it or to call for it like many people are doing, like the whites have to do this thing, you know, playing the racial card. It's not about the racial card. It's about believing in yourself and, you know, loving yourself and the place that you come from.
Let me ask you a second question.
Yeah.
Are Akus more Pan-African than non-Akus?
I can say 50% more.
You guys know why I asked him that?
Yes. Yes.
Are they more Pan-African than the non-Akus?
Yes.
Akus from where? Gambia or?
No, Gambia.
Akus are only from Sierra Leone, Gambia.
Yeah, but, you know, but when you say Akus, I wanted to know, are you talking about Akus? Because Akus in Gambia and Akus there in Sierra Leone, they're
no,
not...
but it's in Gambia.
Okay, in Gambia
but I want
specifically.
to ask this question because obviously everybody's experience is different.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
I think so.
I think so in a sense because they see a collective. They are literally part of a bigger.
Sure.
Yeah, I think from my observation, the question, if you look at Akus in history, the way they were brought back, you can understand, like, this is something that has been instilled in them for a long time. Like, you know what, we've been sent back to Africa. We have to unite. We have to love our continent. We have to be Africa first. We have to find our way. Because I mean, some of the people that were brought back, these like generations after the original slaves that were shipped overseas.
They were African Americans.
They were African Americans. So to answer the question, yes, I think they are.
So even come and when we got independence, come my dad he was in the UK. Sila ko uncle ami call nyom parents ñu ko come jël leen ni can you come back and work for nekk the first attorney general. So mom lu def ma surprise bi léegi. Lu tax yéen say daf ko dé mere ba ko yu tax nga dafa have to go back and give them their their citizenship and then he flies back.
How many people will give up their citizenship for Africa, for Gambia?
And he flies back.
No, but I'm curious about Pan-Africanism more because I really feel like, it's just my perception.
Yeah.
Gambia is one of the least Pan-African countries. In
No,
West
it's
Africa.
Ghana put a video out. I don't know if you've seen it. Like his experience traveling across West Africa.
Yeah.
Like what his observations are when it comes to this, idea of one Africa united, right? I mean, even if you look at Gambia, there's so many things that divide us than unite us.
That's what I'm saying. And it's off. And listen, the elephant in the room is tribalism.
Thank you very much.
Because tribalism cannot exist with Pan-Africanism, right?
Yeah.
See, yarin bila tamit. When I tell people I was radicalized very early by my father.
Wow.
Because when I was 6, 7, he used to sit me down and watch tapes of Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X. So at a very early age, a lot of people don't even realize that I started public speaking lessons when I was 6, 7.
Jeez.
Because my dad used to literally train me. So I had a Pan-African outlook on life. More the swing family, yep, all of us went to like historically black colleges. I pledged a fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, Mademe. So that's always been in me. But I just feel like most of the times Gambia, our conversation is always about Nyunrek. It's never about the collective. No. So they made places like Nigeria and other countries. I feel like they see you as a brother. You're one of them, my Gambian brother. Gambia one to the ki nyakla, ki grala, ki nila. And I think it's problematic. And I don't know where we miss the Pan-African spirit, but it's not. Obviously, the people like Uncle Khalifa Saleh, who's like our grandfather, forefather of Pan-Africanism in across the continent, that in Gambia, we fail to realize the role that he's played in terms of preaching this pool interdependency. So ñun ñep demute duñ dem.
Waaye leena tam daf ñu sonal tam as Gambia den tëju torop. Comme Gambia, we don't come explore. We don't go out.
Why? Si jangin bila, si yarin bila. What is it? What do you think it is? This whole thing about Gambians not being as Pan-African.
No, come linga wa like man is the tribe because man being an Pan-African moneka embracing your roots. Finga joge. Sa forefathers si fin joge, nga embrace ko and then yo.
I'm getting the letter. Man, I like asking. Yo, fan nga joge?
Yeah, honestly.
For joge yo.
Man, Gambia bi.
Yo nga na seni jay mu ngi joge England ñoo wacc ci fi pour liggéey nga na ma Gambian nga joge.
Suma papa mo tanga time boobu noonu mu ngi woon foofu noonu mu ngi def study def master am ci yooyu noonu mu ngi liggéey.
Tanga cang Gambia.
Ay
ñun ñëpp a cang Gambia.
ay cang.
No, digga, they wouldn't draw map. They more just Gambia did not exist. 1950. Man, name was Mappa. You were born in 1951. Right? What were you?
Yeah, he was not Angalela.
So it's very weird that we're not Pan-African and when all about these systems, these structures, they're not 100 years old. It just used to be the region. All of us are West African probably at some level. But the spirit of Pan-Africanism, like it's missing in the Gambia.
Emphasis on Gano's video, right? I think this is not a new problem. I think this is a problem that goes way back. I mean, he made a very good point about slavery. We talk about the idea of blacks selling blacks, right? And he also mentioned just because we are all black doesn't mean we are the same.
We're not monolith,
The people that were selling other black peoples as slaves, it would be, for example, like the Mandinka selling Wolofs, or Wolofs selling Fullers, or Fullers selling that, right? It's like we've always identified ourselves with a particular group. As far as we are concerned, that's what matters. The rest, you're seeing it either as an adversary or whatever.
No.
Why tubaab bi noonu lañ ko bëggee woon tamit.
But no, I think this was way before the 12
No,
came.
no, why?
Nah, loolu moo tax tradition bu nekk am na jam.
Did it.
Exactly.
Look at it.
Think
Look
about
at-
it.
look
We
at
still
it.
have
Exactly.
that.
No, of
That is not a
course.
white.
No,
Yeah, naari am nañ
two
jam.
types of-
That is not a
black.
white. That is
types-
not a white
am na xeet jam
ideology.
jam though.
Yeah.
No, why two
Yeah.
types of slaves leen amoon, commercial and domestic.
Slave is slave.
No, waaw comme ñun
Slaves
time
are
boobu noonu.
slaves, I
Comme
think.
commercial slaves ñun amoon. Comme you pay, comme you work for your freedom. Ba pare tam dañ laa treat yu nga nekk si kër bi ak yooyu noonu. Comme lifin yeneen slave yi yu ndee yóbbu si comme femmes yi ak yooyu noonu are the captives from war. So leen amee here like this place and place have a fight. That's the only time that we take
But
slaves.
modern day,
Wow.
modern day, like more buga nga sani si kado, like right now, I feel like we're not having the Africa conversation in Gambia.
Yeah.
I
That's-
keep mentioning
that's-
we're not even having the regional conversation in Gambia. Te yen xam ngeen ma, man, I believe in the Republic of Senegambia.
Yeah.
I don't dumako de nobe
Where
sa.
is
I
it?
think the
Yeah.
pathway of Gambia is the Republic of Senegambia, and then we grow from there.
I
That's
think
just
even
my
to,
philosophy.
To an extent, you
Right?
could talk about Mali because there's Mali, Senegal, maybe parts of Mauritania, definitely Senegal,
Yeah.
Guinea. It's the same, similar people.
In Gambia, almost majority of Gambians could trace their ancestry 5 generations to one of those places.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Absolutely.
Mali.
Absolutely.
Mali?
Yeah, because Mali was even Ghana, if you check it, like Ghana in Nigeria, most of the places that were set up there are from when the Mali Empire was destroyed. When they're destroyed, so many of them settled in Ghana
And then they
and these
moved.
places and all those things. So even in the Confronting movie, the new one, even if you check it, when he was asking who is a Mandinka here, like somebody will say, I'm from Ghana.
Yeah.
And speaks Mandinka. I'm from this and speaks Mandinka. So it was like West Africa down part, it was all the Mandinka Empire, like the Mali Empire.
And they migrated.
Yeah. And
But the wave, like, what are you seeing? Because I tell people often, gis nga nit ku ñuul yi nekk America ñoo gën a bëgg Africa dañ ñoo xam ne Gambia lañ dëkk juddoo fi yaroo fi.
that's true.
Even historically, if you look at Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, these people were Black American people who kept on saying that until the race unites, ñu nekk benn,
Thank you.
during them. Right? And I know there's a remnant of colonialism where so gisee suñ systems you can't blame the white man for everything.
Yeah.
But the white man understood human psychology in a way that ñun dañ war a people génn si loolu.
Yeah.
One of the systems in def that still remains is there could only be one. Benn dara rek.
Yeah.
Benn chef, benn political leader,
Yeah.
benn president, benn imam. So if you put that, you create crabs in a bucket mentality. Never a collective. When African society used to be the council of the elders, council of Mary, community policing, it takes a village.
True.
But belegi so say all of our system, Togo. Because that's what creates division. More to doing colonialism, that's how they build allies. Then you jail you take la place, we provide a protection, pull the yo la hehal. While you serve our interests, while you rek ya am Togo bi. So I guess we never saw okay, soon dollar BFC fist bila neka. Kuneka ange HOB na Togo. And it's still embedded in us.
Wow.
But in terms of Pan-Africanism for you, how is it that I'm 15 years. Where did the spirit of Pan-Africanism come from? Because folk man dore na Gambia. So fan la jógee.
No, they're all Gambia. Funny enough, I feel like I was so oblivious about the world. Like I did not know much about the different dynamics that was kind of going on about, globally. So a lot of the things I had to kind of like teach myself how to operate and how to navigate. But I feel as though my Pan-Africanism or Pan-Africanist viewpoint came from, I think, my middle school. When I went to middle school, like I used to be made fun of a lot for like the way I look, being dark skinned. I used to be made fun of for being African. I used to be made fun of for having an accent. And that kind of made me look within myself to try to find what to blame within myself. And I couldn't really find much. So that kind of had me thinking like, okay, there is a system here. There's obviously a driving force that's making, people that are maybe one shade or two shades lighter than me, thinking that they are better than me. Why is that? And so as a result, I started to see like there's a divide where, and sometimes, African parents sometimes would say, African parents that go to America would say that like they don't necessarily want their kids to associate too much with maybe sometimes with the American kids. But, all of that came from a sense of, projecting and stereotyping.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, back home when you were in Gambia, you don't know really much about African American culture. All you know what you saw in the movies.
Yep.
And you saw in the movies and you seeing them shooting, drugs, gang banging, pants sagging. That's all you saw. So when you think of African Americans, that's the image that comes to your head. And so vice versa, people from America, oftentimes the only image that they saw of Africa was of kids starving, Ebola, diseases rampant and everywhere. Exactly.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but that was with traditional media, because there were no other outlets to necessarily showcase what was happening. So me being born here and being able to see that, there's people in Africa. People in Africa are not begging and starving for food. Like we are doing just well.
Yep.
And so seeing both the dynamic kind of helped me thinking. I'm like, okay, there obviously got to be a way for me to find a way to kind of divide or really, kill out that mentality that like, this group is better or this group is better, because I saw the unity and the power that like when like when you got in this dollar, my in this dollar, you like we are so much more powerful. So much more powerful. So if you think about it, even the same way, I'm on the whole Senegambian mindset. But if you think about it, like any boy, Gambian now, Senegal, like they have this mindset that like, I think it's a limited belief in a sense, because they're fucking like Gambia and Senegal being boke, they're gonna lose their identity. You're not gonna lose your identity. If anything, it's just gonna be strengthened even more.
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense for Gambia and Senegal to be two separate countries.
It doesn't.
It does not make any sense whatsoever. So Gambia can be a part of that like revolution or that Pan-Africanist, revolution until I felt like we understand that like, the people that we've been kind of like, quote unquote, beefing with, rival, being with is literally the same as us. If we can't see Senegalese as like, if we can't see Senegalese and us as one, how can we see us being the same with Ghanaians or Jamaicans it's impossible. So we have to start there. And that's why I think, with my platform, I want to use it very, very purposeful in the sense that, and it sometimes it can be costly in a sense because, you almost can have this like radicalized mindset where brands will kind of like pull back a little bit because they seem like you just only care about Black people. When in reality it's not. I don't necessarily see color in that sense, but I also saw that like we are not benefiting from the mindset that we have. So I have to speak up on those. So people oftentimes don't understand that me speaking up on a lot of these topics is actually costing me because I could have been so much more further financially where like I could have been so much further than where I am now because, brands don't necessarily want you to be necessarily singling out just this one particular like demographic, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And even it's funny enough because even if most of your following is from, let's say, Gambia or Nigeria, like brands don't necessarily want to work with you. They don't want to pay you.
So they want the US followers.
So they want the US followers, people from Canada, people from England. So people don't understand the sacrifice that's actually being made because even people from my country following me is hurting me more than it's benefiting me, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Most people don't understand.
Most people don't understand that.
They pay you for your audience.
They pay for your audience. So if they don't look at Gambians or Nigerians or people because it's just like the products that they would be advertising on my page, they wouldn't necessarily be able to like afford. That's the viewpoint. That's the mindset. And so as a result, if they were to ask you like, okay, a brand will come and be like, yo, okay, what's your demographic, and then you will show them like what country is following you the most. They on that country, they don't want to see Nigeria, they don't want to see Gambia on the
And
top.
that's not their market.
Yeah,
I'm curious to know what that process is when a brand comes to you.
Yeah.
Because I know I've seen like a proliferation of like just really, you're intentional about the brands you work with.
Yeah.
But I'm showing you in terms of why his work is important, where let's say even the skincare industry. Oftentimes like black skin is not the priority when it comes to even the science of making some skincare products.
And even cameras.
Right?
Cameras, skin
cameras,
tones are tested on
hell,
light
artificial
skin.
intelligence, pharmaceuticals. There's not any, most of the times if you hear R&D, like R&D excludes black people most of the times. Because black people are also not creating enough items and doing research on skin. But obviously in terms of skincare routine, I think you guys should follow him just to wow, go to Boy, no. I'm not going to you jail jump rago because no, what's the honestly
No. I'm not for.
We talked about hygiene. I think just from there's two things. The Buguma again is Pan-Africanism. Go to Gambia. So two things. Nakanga is solo, balanga again is sakir. Nakanga topato is a bopanga sangu bem said hasa kanambe topato. Follow more, just for that as well too, because I think it's important.
That's true.
But yeah, that's a sacrifice I think a lot of people underestimate. Because I think adnasilum gena ragal moy nit ku ñuul ñi ew. You know, we're not anti-white, we're pro-black.
Thank you.
Because population, Africa is the wave.
Yeah.
Every single, we've driven pop culture, fashion, music for so long, we just don't understand our might. But where the population is going, what swing continent before making in Japan, because I'm in the Funeka of a hat, Funeka Mugi Bari Mak, you're gonna upper now. So we're positioning ourselves in a way, even in terms of media, where we're coming. People know we're coming. You know, air good, right? But I think Gambia, I don't know if it's the educational system, but Belegi Desmond your Buga Africa in a way, but hamne the ñun muna dem fek Africa demod. The region be so naked pay attention. I believe in democracy. I don't believe in coup d'etat. Why just nga alliance of Sahelian states? That Ibrahim Traore wave is the Africa wave.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
And it's bigger as well too in terms of the intentionality. Why what time today aga banjosa? You never mainly Gambia we're on a silo on our own. We're worried about the wrong things.
Many countries were like, protesting about
alliance.
Yeah. Well,
I'm good there, good son.
I want to touch up on that point because it's actually, I made a video about, us needing to protect Ibrahim Traore that went crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe like, I don't know, 3.8 million views or something. That video actually like brought so much attention to me in a sense of like, people really like investigated me, bro.
I could
like, no, people, so the whole point you're saying about like, Bagun Gambia, Bagun new like new job, like that new el Bagun ko, paski like so more different video like all the Pan-Africanist pages pick up, share share everywhere. So I've been at news station Bumaksa guy message me ben jigen Senegal la nek sa tubab la so mo ne dafa bëgg interview pour luma wax ci Ibrahim Traoré whatever dafa bëgg set from my mindset be whatever the case may be, but dafa wax interview man I already knew that like nekk doon interview, you were sent by somebody, it was something one of those like interrogation in a sense. So jigen bi nak mu commencé nak mu ne ma okay, so what's your viewpoint on Ibrahim Traoré and everything? I see that you were comparing him to Patrice Lumumba and all of these people. Are you saying can I like danga wax ne legi naka France wala United States ñoo gañ ñoo rey ñoo okay, where in my content did you see that? So I already I'm telling you, so I already saw where they was coming from like miles away. So no more time to me commencé to record. I already started recording because I was like, I don't want them to like take my words and twist it into anything. So mu commencé lo ma settle down. Like mu commencé mu la chawr benen mu ne ma dugg suma comments like mu commencé like okay, I'm not gonna what's it called movie star bu nekk bu act on Black Panther. So daf ma follow nag. So mu comment on like the fist emoji. And mu ne waaw gis naa celebrity yi ñu bëri ñu ngi dugg sa comments yi kanaa gars yi lu nga gëm leen gëm ma ne ko la moo tax ma ne ko he comments on all my posts. And, you know, and then she dives deeper and she was like she was saying something dafa waxoon ne man dafa foogoon ne man den ma fay Russian yi ne ma fay pour ma def like bro I'm telling you ma ne ko bro I'm telling you no literally and I was just like I was asking him like what is the problem with me wanting to say that another Black man that looks just like me should be protected? Like what is the problem with that? But that's when I saw I already knew the power of my platform, but that's when I saw the power of my platform and I understood that like I have to be a lot more strategic in the way that I go about doing certain things because my heart when it comes to like our people is all about our people, bro. Like I really want to make sure like I don't have any more love for my people than I do anywhere else, but I don't have any more love for anybody else than I do for my people.
Absolutely.
And so it's always going to be making sure that like my people are good. And that's going to be having those conversations that sometimes might put me in a limelight that make me kind of a little bit of a target, but you know, I believe whatever is meant to happen is going to happen regardless. So, but just to kind of have that kind of like add that to the conversation that we need to really start, you know, waking up and understanding that the rest of the world is going, whether we're going or not, they are gone. If I tell you about the amount of, you know, people from Jamaica, people from all over reaching out to me, what can we do? What can we do to add to this? What can we do to add to them? So the rest of the world, they already light years ahead in terms of just Black people coming together. They don't care if you're from Brazil. They don't care if you're from Jamaica. They don't care if you're from wherever you're from. So Gambia needs to, like Gambians in general, needs to add themselves into that conversation. And I feel like there's so many things that we need to kind of like start working on because the last time I came here, I told you it was in 2023. And one thing I've been talking to my cousin literally all day, every day. And I was just like, I'm so disappointed because the way that people looked in 2023 and the way that people look now is completely different in a sense of like the skin lightening and all of these things that I'm now is literally everywhere. Everywhere. Ñëpp a xeesal. Ñëpp a xeesal. No, so bro, I see. No, I literally I see. And so I don't think they understand the danger that's even happening. But also I'm driving around you driving around the freeway, you see, you know, bleaching billboards, so like just on that sense alone, like
it's a problem.
How can you, even if it's bleaching is out, let it be something that like but out in the open to where like you literally giving somebody a billboard to tell you that like, hey, your daughter
and a young girl is seeing that as the standard of beauty.
That's what it is. It's not even just a standard of beauty. That is like literally enforcing to tell somebody like, hey, there's something wrong with your skin.
Yeah,
like,
I would see the TikTokers mixing the products.
You know what's wild? Do you know that Gambia, man, munuma def billboard wahlen Innovarex could help your blood pressure. It's illegal in Gambia. But somebody could put a billboard Nekalenjina hairstyle, and that's legal. It's WAP.
Bro, it's everywhere. No, literally, like, and the way they place it is so strategic in a sense. Bro, literally, I'm a fan of bro, literally, one billboard mingini, see, one like all within a 5-minute drive. Big ass bill, and there's no other billboards around it. I'm just like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, how did we stoop this low to the point where we literally, within the next 5 years, I promise you already know what is coming on the horizon.
You know what's the main problem? Gambia ñun den later duga to CNI. Then later duga si social media.
Late wala ewo.
No, late man late na ko wala ñaka ewo.
I don't think they later duga si social media. I don't think that's the problem. For me, the issue that I've seen is we need to get off of this train of entertainment.
Yes.
We are a society that is just hyper focused on entertainment.
That's it.
If you if you look at the Roman Empire, like how did they control citizens from revolting, from revolutions?
Gladiators,
entertainment. That's exactly what Sparkling the last time he talked about how there's like an agenda, right? And I believe it's through entertainment.
Of course,
it's through building these apps that are just hyper addictive. I mean, if you marry a pie, Then they muna nekk on TikTok all day long.
No man leena laa ko dee wax leena laa dee wax ne tay ñu ñëpp suñ soul bi
Entertainment is just a time waster.
You get sensor. You're not for saying entertainment doo ko gis China.
Oh yeah, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
That's what I heard.
No way. No.
But even through social media, that's what we're consuming. And I think at some point, anything, suneke social media, suneke leka, suneke substances, you become what you consume the most of.
Definitely.
We're a byproduct of our consumption. So in terms of the lack of and it's a tricky slope because somebody when a girl shouldn't tell a woman how to define their beauty.
True.
That's one aspect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, a lot of the products that are positioned in front of our sisters and our mothers go against everything and from a healthcare perspective, boy, skin cancer is about to be skyrocketing in this region.
To the roof.
True.
Because we have to, like you are literally removing melanin from your skin. Lo hamne yala daf loko may. Pour mu mun la protect.
Doo gis ñene after yena sister wala yena mère sa dañ dem
Ñoo
bi
lakka
Because amateur protection.
te lii yëpp ñàkk a gëm suñu boppam moo ñu ko yóbbu.
Man, I also think it comes down to the entertainment. The content creators are not doing a good job.
You think it should be censored?
Oh, I think there are certain things that shouldn't be out.
No, bro.
I mean, the people that are now like married and non-bleach, right? They start to tay.
But fan la dore. What's the origins of bleaching?
I think it comes down to the idea of colorism where if you're lighter, this is a problem that
That's
has
the episode
been,
on its own.
It's
on bleaching.
I think so. I mean, even if you look at historically in our African cultures, who were the slaves?
The black,
darker skinned. In Fulani culture, if you're dark, you're called a macho. Like dark people in Fulani culture.
India culture.
India to me is the same thing. Pakistan is the same thing. They have a
Why
hierarchy
even
of
boys
color.
and then you want to dig a boy the standard of beauty in noble hair slady.
Thank you very much.
But not for everyone though.
But amade wane. So boy tahawe. Sister Bohane is like naturally beautiful, dark skin, unadulterated. Like Muromba.
Yeah.
Noble hairs.
This is my take on this, right?
Some working what I did nyaka jekar. One to them gini uti jabari pol. I'm guilty as charged too, but damn.
This is my take. I think for the average guy, right? It doesn't matter your skin color.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I think
the average man would settle
What's
with
the average
anything.
man? Boy, you don't.
But you know the crazy part. I feel like it's not even just so much about the men. I feel like women sometimes do it to impress other women.
That's what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. Matamanela, for the average guy, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
for the average man, now I'm jigen.
Yeah,
that's it.
Most men now don't care. But I'm saying but most men don't care like that in that sense. But it's almost like, for example, if you go to the US, right, you will ask 100 guys, what do they prefer in a woman? Do they prefer a woman to wear her natural hair or to wear a wig?
Yeah.
99.9% of men will say, I want natural.
All natural.
All natural.
Yep. All natural.
But women will, you will interview women. You will interview women and they will tell you that like, oh no, men are lying. Like
because they want to weave.
It's not for men.
It's not for they literally do it.
It's not for men.
They do it to get the approval from each other.
You cannot comment.
So wait, I'm gonna learn this because I'm gonna hot in the city. I'll comment it. Do comment it. Are they doing it for the woman or are they doing it for the
I
man?
think we should have a cross episode where Hot in the City comes here and have women on the panel and when you have this conversation.
Because you're right. I think a lot of things that women are doing,
it's not for men.
Men don't notice.
I mean,
the whole BBL stuff.
Think about it.
The whole guinea far to have like an hourglass figure.
Men don't care.
Well, can you get a he haven't been long like
do you think a woman will spend 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 on her body for the average Gambian?
No.
That's not who they're looking for. That's not who they're doing it for.
So you're saying no man wants that? Well,
the men that I know.
Right.
Me too.
The men that I know.
Triple talkie can
why kodo ñoko defé de boy ñoo de
ñoko defé ak
I think there's a difference between
why they could defé ndaw si loolu la bëgg or dañ ko dee fay ne góor bi loolu la bëgg.
I think
ñoom dañ ko dee fay because ñoom lan la xam nañ ne suñ defutee seen wargar luñ mun a am luñ bëgg si jigéen ñi.
No, dama feel jigéen ñi dañ ko defee
there's
dañ ko
an
def
important
ngir ne
point. There's an important point that we need to make sure we mention, right? There's the woman that the guy settles down with, and then there's the woman that the guy plays around with.
That's true.
That's
That's
where I
a
was
complete
coming.
difference.
Yeah.
And we have to be honest to women that men lie. They will tell you all sorts of things. They'll give you the money to go and do that as long as they're getting what they want. But they know who they're going to marry at the end of the day.
That's
And they
basically
typically
true.
trickle down to
Yeah.
like the more natural you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like if you, and I feel like most men don't, not most women sometimes don't think from a logical perspective when it comes to like what men are actually looking for.
Yeah.
I don't know any respectable man that would want to have a child and with a woman that has like really fully altered every single thing about herself.
I don't think
it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be very difficult because at the end of the day, that woman is raising your daughter. Yes. That woman is raising your son. And so there's certain substances that you look for that sometimes, not saying that women that fully alter their body don't have that substance, but it can put them in a certain box that is just like you were saying, is literally just for men to have fun with. Like
mun naa confess xale bi because I gis ne xam nga su nekkoon ne papa yaay
gars yi dee déglu soo leen ko waxee dañoo foog ne yow moom
xale bi xalaatal moom fu mu nekk nii jabaram suñu amoon the same beautiful dark complexion ñu am doom waaye su nekkoon jabar bi mu ngi xeesal ba nga xam ne doom bi juddu confused xam nga loolu di laajte ne lu tax mami ak
no balaa moo mag sax suma jabar yi karok her skin is gonna be messed up already. It's gonna be messed up already. She's gonna be green, purple, pink, all different.
How they ass? I'm telling you. Let me tell you a story. This guy Lajo Boom Judo, because Lajo took like his mom's side. He's light skinned. So Aisha at some point was like, "Why is my brother light skinned? My daughter's 7." Because once again, she's already seeing the world through colorism. And Kokula Bokandea Bai. And I had to break down and took out, Lajo's grandfather. One kind of, hey, this guy was like this when he looked like Mbokinyam Kila as well. And she understood like the DNA in terms of certain traits. You could be tall because I'm tall. But it happens at an early age. And I don't think oftentimes a lot of the decisions that we make in terms of alteration, we're confusing a lot of the next generation. And they start defining... They start thinking I'm not beautiful enough as well too. But it's Jamana Bifumnek and it's also business too. So most people
the lolo mo len de sonal. So most of them lolo mo len de sonal ñu joxe sen bofate they didn't plan it because yena yoy buga pour def sa body bi yena yoy buga sol place yoy buga dem you cannot afford it. Maybe you're from a poor background. So any nigga that can afford that you are available. No, they trust me. Tiger, don't they? I'm Kena.
Are we censoring the N-word?
No. Sorry, hey,
you're gonna get us flagged.
No, sorry.
But we don't have FCC. Gambia did the regular airwaves, not yet.
No, I come.
My man is dropping the N-word.
No, I'm not slang. Sorry.
But either way, it comes back to Bugasa Boba. And I think there's just an element. I went to see Halifa Saleh speak last week. That day of the International African Child, I think, and the lecture he focused it on Pan-Africanism and in terms of just certain things that we're still missing the boat. I really feel like those are some of the things we should look out for because he kept on reminding people. This is somebody who's been speaking for like since kind of Uncle.
He's been around.
The same message. When you get like he's been telling us the same thing. Then you want to book out Swing Bopa. We have to do things in a collective. Gambia is so small for us not to think about what is the African agenda. The Swing Tigene Swing Bopa. It's not part of our discourse. Gambian we don't must talk si Campeh. They're going to do about the African agenda. What's the state of black people around the world?
So whole Gambian you nega saka to my youth. Buguno nega visa. Buguno nega Gambian sa.
Buguno nega Gambian or Buguno nega Africa?
Buguno nega Gambia.
I know about Gambia.
I mean, some people have had the opportunity to like...
Uncle Wali Tamba, come Union Lavi.
Buguno nega Gambian?
Yeah, Buguno nega Gambian.
Why?
Huh? Because you don't feel like
a lot of people, if they had the opportunity to
they are not proud of
nationalized to another African citizenship.
I think if you look at places like say Kenya or Ghana, I think the average Gambian would take that in a heart.
Gambian more talk.
No, honestly, I've seen
But it's a problem of perception though, because they think that area is better than where they are. But then it comes down to just focusing on the wrong things, because consuming good content, educative content, it takes some thought. It takes thinking, and people don't want to think anymore. People just want to be entertained. Entertaining doesn't take effort. Like you just consuming, right? Yesterday I was listening to this scholar. He was explaining why the US, there will never be a revolution in the US. As much as people want a revolution, it will never happen. And one of the reasons why it would never happen, because they've made sure entertainment is everywhere.
Rampant, yeah.
Like even
they've numbed people.
Exactly.
They've fried people's brains.
They have created your opinions. They have you have a two-party system. They have created the enemy. They have created the heroes. Like even if you want to ask questions, you don't even know the right questions to ask. And even if you ask the right questions, people want an instant gratification solution. Like they don't want to put in the effort to actually make a change. I think something similar is happening to Gambia. You go online, you see a lot of people talking about how the country is this, the country is that. Now electricity bill went up by 35%, food prices are going up, but we're all talking about it.
But do they understand why?
Because they don't want, it takes effort to do the research, to understand that there's a lot of geopolitics, regional conflicts, import, export, taxes going up. Like they don't want to put in the effort. I mean, the Gambia Bureau of Statistics and National Audit Office, I always emphasize on that. If you really want to know what's happening in the country, those websites are your solution.
And if you go to those websites, di nga xam ne gis nga yàlla bindut ko xam ne mun naa ñëw ma fix Gambia.
No, nekkul léegi de.
No, dégg la de.
It's
If you understand how a country works,
goodness,
it doesn't matter ku nit ki bugg a dëkk bi. The math is never mathing when it comes to Gambia.
Absolutely.
I mean, dëkk bi.
No way.
Nit ñi dañ ko understand rek. Xam nga every suba jëkkat mën na toogal supa kanja mu jox la $100.
Waaw.
Di nga musa mën a toogal supa kanja.
No.
Foo toogee supa kanja.
No.
Waaye soo nekkee di yuxu ne dama bugg a supa waaye kii mu ngi laa jox dépense $100. Ban supa ngay lekka?
Do that.
Padang ak kobo ngay lekka every single day. Doo mën a joytu. That's a lot of people just don't understand that as well too. But it's scary though suñu waxee ne booy yu bari Gambian yu bari bëggu ñoo nekk Gambia.
Non waaw ma caan comme loolu la oncle Wally doon wax mu ne Gambian rek nga dee gis ne comme doomi Gambia da ngaa toog di ka but nga saagal lu ñaaw fii nii dañ fi war a génn fii nii naa because lan la loolu rek dafa nekk di delloo sa dëkk si gannaaw.
But is that pride or entitlement? Dañ bëgg a dëkk bi defal leen dara.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of both. I feel like, Gambians are not really, we are very prideful people.
Yeah.
In the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like in the wrong way.
That's very true.
You see, like the way my mindset is set up, bro. Like yalla tell you why. So if it was that I need to go outside and sell,
You do it.
I'm selling water.
Yep.
I'm selling water. I don't care.
We were just
But
talking
it's
about
just
it.
like, but there's so many things that need to. There's so many opportunities in the Gambia that it's just like people just fold their hands and expect everything to be done.
Thank you.
What are the
doesn't
people
run like-
that migrate to Gambia? They're the ones making it.
They're the ones that make.
They're the ones that are
There's so much money in the Gambia, and people don't understand it. I feel like everybody see the potential in Gambia except Gambians.
Yes.
And that is so dangerous in the sense that like it's gonna get to a point. They think things are getting more expensive now. Wait till 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Because
It's
if
not
you're
gonna
not
get easier.
positioning yourself in a place where you're able to create for yourself, where you're able to operate and just like you were saying, Lamota, like every block, I'm in food.
Yeah.
Lamota, every block, I'm in butcher, I'm in like farms, and there's rampant amount of land in the Gambia, but people don't want to go farming. People don't want to but me being like living abroad, I see all the opportunities, and guess what? I'm coming back because I see that like if I don't invest something here within the next 5 years, it's going to be almost impossible for me to be able to invest anything because everybody else is coming up and buying something. They're going to be snatching it right under our eyes.
They are already doing it.
People don't understand. I'm just like, yo, wake up. Like literally, Gambians need to wake up, bro. In the next 5 years, Gambian.
Xam nga li nga doon wax the last time ne if a Gambian men lazy. But soo ko xoolee nga teg benn Gambian, teg benn Sénégalais, benn Nigerian, benn wouldn't.
But Nigerians,
Last
Nigerians,
I'm got more recently. He was talking. He made a
Exactly.
video and he
Bro.
was giving props to Nigerians.
Is it?
Nisi di mer. Bulen mer.
Not
Nigerians
true.
are
Okay,
human
yeah,
beings.
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I look up.
You know they carry
I look up to
last.
Nigerians.
But no,
Same, honestly.
I look up to Nigerians.
Same, man.
I look up to
Same.
Nigerians. Bro,
Same.
I tell you.
I really admire their drive.
Just look
I really,
at
really
since
do.
the Nigerians came here
Yeah.
to the Gambia, when they start pouring up to the Gambia, they changed the whole system of the country.
But you know,
Can you imagine, guy? I mean, the
Yes,
whole
yes.
market, when you're a Nigerian market.
of course. But why not?
No,
No.
I mean, Nigerians are the only people, right? You go to a country where if you're caught with this amount of weed, you'll be executed. They're the ones selling it. They have so much drive that they're
Bro,
willing to take that risk.
But let me tell you, like, I surround myself mostly with Nigerians because
Hey, man.
Same.
Yeah.
Nigerian then focus in Bopo.
Then they halat.
Bro, Nigerians are so driven to the point where literally whatever a Nigerian does, they are gonna excel at it. If they want to be bad, bro, they're gonna be the worst of the worst. But if they want to be good, they're gonna be the best of the best, and that's how I am too, bro. If I want to be bad, bro, I'm not gonna be no. If I'm gonna whatever I'm gonna do,
You have to do 100%.
I'm gonna be 110% in. I'm not gonna be on the fence. Oh, today I want to be good. No, whatever I want to do, I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And when I say that, like, when I give praise to Nigerians, is because like people don't understand that like it's so much more difficult to make it out in Nigeria than it is to make it out in the Gambia.
Why?
It's a jungle.
So much more difficult.
Nigeria is
Survival of the fittest.
Bro, Gambia is a field day. Some
Yeah.
Nigerians will, but the laziest Nigerian will come here and run laps around Gambia. And I can guarantee you that. 100%. Because the work and the labor that they're willing to do and how they operate and their mindset is not within this. Like Gambians, like I was talking to the Mirrored.
Yeah.
You know, Mirrored.
Yeah, Amina, yeah.
And like just everybody else that comes to like the way that you have to train Gambians is to the point where for somebody to come to your restaurant and for you to even serve them, for you to greet them, is like almost like a little bit of you have too much of a pride. Yeah, don't expect the the patronize new. Just imagine that mindset.
Yeah.
It's
It's actually crazy. You know, Lagos, their GDP is bigger than 47 African countries.
Yeah, but
Like if you count 47 African countries, Lagos top all of them.
it moves.
And that just shows.
But it's a frequency. Man, nobody want say how many see here in Bila.
Yeah.
But oftentimes we vibrate at a very low frequency.
we do.
How many
Limited mindset.
Jugal.
No,
Most of the time.
I mean, even people that come here be like, Gambia is a calm place, you know.
But it's,
No,
But that calm is actually-
British ak sun mami ñom ñu sonal.
but balen the
Then
sonal
you-
British.
No, I think
ñom ñoo ñu jàngal
ñom
ñoo ñu
Yeah, well,
jàngal
xam nga
We passed us.
ñun
Yeah.
pass nañ stage boo xam ne
That-
foo nekk
yeah.
ni man I believe na okay maybe soon generation yi papa yi
Yeah.
they were under certain constraints. They were trained as civil servants.
Not anymore.
Why in this day and age
Not anymore.
man we can't be victims anymore.
Yeah.
tubaab bi defuñu dara.
Waaw.
ñun everything ñu ngi dem dëkk tubaab bi ñu ngi overtake is.
Bro.
am nga lu ma
Waaw.
te mën nañoo dem foofu
You know,
tekki
I
del
think-
si waat
Waaw, ñu-
ñëw fii te ñoom mënuñoo ñëw survive fii. So if anything being African
It's an
or black
advantage.
is a flex, is a hack.
Yeah.
ñun fu mu nekk nii mënuñoo nekk di waxtaan si campé bi nii delluwaat kii ëllëg mun naa tasee moom in any boardroom in America.
Yeah, yeah,
da ngaa
yeah.
foog ne man si ñoom laa bokka.
Yeah.
It's that versatility, and I think black people, that's the biggest opportunity we have.
Yeah.
moo tax dama dee wax ne even in terms of investors and things of that nature dañ bàyyi di xaar tubaab bi ñëw soobal ñu suñ problème yi.
Yeah.
nit ku ñëw yu am xaalis yëpp ñu ngi si biti.
Yeah.
What they're consuming, we're not creating
But when
as
it
much.
comes to Gambia ñun suñ culture bi is based on dependency.
Yeah, why?
You
Damn
understand?
it.
Gambian nga de dem nga nekk ponkal alum neen di nga nekk si kër bi sa jabar sa doom mu ngi si kër bi.
Why daaxul la?
sa mère bi sa nii dafa.
Why
Exactly.
why daaxul la di?
ñu laa jox
Nigeria sa pa moo laa daaxa.
No, si biti.
xam nga Gambia amaguñ homelessness.
No, we don't
Right?
have that. We don't have a problem.
amaguñ homelessness. amaguñ ñoo xam ne cobuñ. Gis nga suñ dooree di gis traffic light.
Yeah.
nit yi guddi ñu ngi lal
But
li
living
ne
with
pour
it.
tëdda. Nit yi la ñoo eew. No, I kid you not.
No, that's very
Right?
true.
And
That's
we're
very
gonna
true.
get there because dëkk su métti yoo xam ne where resources get really scarce.
Yeah.
You become less benevolent.
True.
Because doo mun a may loo amul. su nekkee ne yow mutut sax it's just survival instincts. After a while dañ laa ne yow dara jotu la.
Waaw demal nga uti ji.
Why should I feed you? So ñaaree nit xaalis dañ ne fu ne nga dof. Why should I give you money to eat? Yow nga am ñaari tànka ñaari loxo ñaari bët. sama ma war laa jox dara.
Thank you very
Right?
much.
Moo tax yeneen dëkk soo demee dañ ne maa ngi ñëw damaa dem añ ñëwaat.
Yeah.
You know, I also think they're complaining complaining, a lot of people don't realize, like when you complain too much, it actually becomes part of your character. It becomes
It's
part of who
pervasive.
you are.
It cripples you.
And the thing about complaining, you don't see clearly.
No.
You don't see where you want to be and what you have to do.
Sure.
Sometimes I see people complaining for the sake of it, and they have no logical argument to why they're complaining for what they're complaining.
No solution.
They just complain.
Wow.
That's so true.
You know, it's actually insane because if you think about it, Gambia we still have the idea of Nyamimbam.
Exactly.
No, honestly,
I remember you saying that, and it
So, yeah.
think about it, right? You go to a place like Senegal. There was for the first time in my life when I was in Turkey, I'd never seen someone going through a trash can to get food. I saw that for the first time in my life.
Jeez.
When I saw her going through it, I actually thought maybe she was looking for something. So she was taking like the burgers I'd never seen that in my life.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, average Gambian has never seen a Gambian or anyone going through trash to get
Thank you
food.
very
What's
much.
that in LA? That's every day, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
No matter what. Bro, a 5-minute drive from my apartment.
Yeah.
For how many nigga bro, not even bro. I'm not for how many they go call it like a skid row. Hang a fee boy you boy, oh, dama bëgg dem out, dama bëgg dem, bro, dama la wax ñu fa juddoo yaroo fa am këyit. Si mbedd bi lañ def fanaan.
Yeah.
Si mbedd bi lañ def bro, am te nekkul benn ñaar ñett dama la wax boy. A 10-minute drive.
Community.
Yep.
Yeah.
For the whole community.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
ñëpp si biti lañ def fanaan. Amuñ lekk. amuñ naan amuñ dara bon man am na une organisation yu ma lay liggéeyal sax yu ma lay dimbale ñu lay dem foofu jox leen ay socks ay kavaas ay toothbrush toothpaste yooyu noonu ay lekk te the Gambians don't understand no matter where you are in this world amul fenn fu nga xam ne da ngaa dem fasante sa loxo yi ne nii ñu jox la amut fa foo nekk da ngaa liggéey ba nga am lu nga bëgg. And that's the mindset that they don't understand. For much more mindset bi léegi. It's just a mindset thing, bro.
Yeah, it is. It actually is.
If you can put me in a place where the only places where I think it will be a little bit difficult, places maybe like North Korea and places where entrepreneurship.
I think even North Korea is propaganda.
Bro, I don't even know. I want to visit it. But anywhere where there's a free economy,
you can make money.
Anywhere where there's a free economy, bro, you can make money.
It's all a mindset.
But
I think so.
butéel yi mu ngi gisee liggéey xaalis.
Over.
Bro bu la neexee mu ngaa bro.
Recycle it.
ñëwal bale nit këram sax ba bunt kër dafa ma bale la li nga jox ma wañ aaj.
Nigga.
I don't want to do that.
Bro, no, I'm telling you, they will do it.
Bro.
The thing is, they will do it outside.
No, bro.
But that's what I'm saying.
It is a mindset.
Sometimes when I have my off days, dama dem suma benn uncle ma liggéeyal ko comme dama dem foofu noonu ma cleanal ko kiram bi.
Yeah.
Definal ko yëpp daf ma dee fay $1,000.
That is you, but I'm because I've seen a case whereby dama demoon benn kër. Benn góor bu dëkk si neighborhood bi rek dafa ñëw si maire bi mu ne ko ne tey de kër dara jakut fa xam nga xale yi amuñ luñ añ ak yooyu noonu. Kooku ne ko waa baax na amul problème man maa ngi fi am ay koko bëggoon naa ko ma ko dogal sax. Kaay nga dog ko ma jox la dara kooku ne ko maa ngi ñëw ba ngoon ñëwut. So di nga wax loolu Gambia ni bëgg naa liggéey.
Loolu last time bi wax suma gars yi ni ma ne du ma nangu.
It's a mindset thing.
It is a mindset.
It's a mindset thing.
There's a Nigerian guy here. Small sole pour mu paintal ma. This guy can come out in the middle of the night. He will ask me, do you have light? I'll be like, yes, I have light. He will like, okay, I'll come there. He's coming.
Bro.
I called the plumber, yeah? Body for 4-5 euro la ko call. But dama sola plumbing job, it's a bit urgent. But dama sona de.
But nationality la?
Nekk ni dama wacha liggéey.
But nationality la?
I'm like, I'm calling you.
Exactly.
Why am na ñu doon mer nag buñ ko doon wax last episode no Gambian si lazy wuñ.
Bro.
Boy, man la hustle bi is different.
Gambia, it's impossible for you to find a good AC repairman. It's impossible.
No,
you to find a reliable plumber.
No, du loolu sax de.
Impossible.
Am nañ good people de but ban concept lañ am fii defarkati daala bu baax sax pour nga am ko is a problem. Danga koo toppatee
Mastery, like guy, they don't invest the time to work on mastery. You know, like even to build a house here in the Gambia, bro. I'm telling you, the finishings.
Oh my goodness! Oh, but
terrible.
No, bro.
Bro,
That's true.
lu ma la wax. I'm not. Dañoo defal tile fii. Tile but dafa slabby paint.
Yeah.
Bàyyi ko foofu buñ ko xoos sax.
No.
Wala ñu ubbi socket bàyyi ko. They don't.
There's no diligence.
That's
in
what
their
I'm saying.
work.
Anyway, that's what. Regardless of what you want to do, if right here, if you want to be a tile layer, you can be the best.
So easy. And there's the market for
you can make the best money because it's like people don't understand that whatever you work, whatever kind of job you do, you put your name behind.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm not it's a disrespect for me. I don't even want to take your money if I'm not going to deliver the service that I'm supposed to deliver to you to the best of your likeness.
Yes. I mean, I can attest to that. There's a couple of clients that I've done work for and they were not happy. I didn't follow up on the final payment.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I could not get myself.
It's not even. It's not halal.
It's not halal. If you're not happy with my work, and there are certain scenarios where, you know, a client complains and I just want to deliver it and get it over with, right? But I know it's not the best that I can do. I don't follow up on the payment. I don't take the balance. I just deliver it
and let it go. But that's the thing, though. That's why we able to come to this place where you able to. But that's the thing. Where in Gambia, regardless of whether it's carpentry, whether it's plumbing, sewage, whatever it is, there are people that are doing it, but oftentimes they're doing it at such a minimal level.
They do the bare minimum.
Basic bare minimum to the point where it's just like, bro, anybody will come here that want to really master something, regardless of what it is, but you will run laps around anybody.
Yeah, that's not apprenticeship. People don't. No. I mean, even same thing with mechanics. You see a kid going to a garage to learn how to be a mechanic. 1 year, maybe 1 year is even a stretch. A few months, they think they know how to fix a car.
Open a new business.
And they open business. And a lot of cars in Gambia are bad because of bad
that.
mechanics.
Yeah.
But if you take a look at it, just averagely like a mason. Now masoners are having maybe $1,000 for a day or more than that, just for 2 bags of cement. Like you work for 2 bags of cement. Like if you're doing plastering or you building, you have to
it's a change of mindset.
It's a mindset.
Yeah.
But somebody has to do it. Also, we need to have people just kind of show them the way.
True.
We need leaders as well.
Yeah.
They need to create institutions that are a reflection of that hustle. Yeah. Because there are some institutions where now you could build a culture of people that hustle. Yeah. Right? But if the leaders are kind of half-stepping or taking shortcuts or taking money that doesn't belong to them, we become a reflection of the society. Because there are some institutions where you'll find hustle. Those people will never go out of business. And I think from a competitive standpoint, I say from doing business in Gambia, that's where my confidence even comes because I know you're not going to outwork me.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
And I could endure more discomfort than you. So begin your Axel.
And
you're gonna take shortcuts.
Whatever you wanna come with.
Whatever it is, and any industry, come knock on our head. So I say industry been I'm a faduga. Maybe 3 months.
No,
you have what it takes.
Yeah.
It's the mindset.
One thing Len Wara Bahel. Gambia is a converging land for business opportunities.
For other people, not for Gambians.
Yeah.
You understand?
Definitely.
For
other people.
You need capital for that.
Wow,
I think there's a...
No, but this again, but anyways, what have you been coming out? Because we need to wrap up. What did you get?
I want to go back to more story.
Yes.
I just have a question.
Okay.
During the transition, being start doing videos for fashion brands, da agon nga ben stage bo xamone amon nga difficulty pour sol sen yena yere wala def yena videos based on your fi nga joge sa tradition ak sa culture ndax am son nga am any difficulty si yoy non comme barrière.
Well, fashion before la dore sa.
Okay.
Because he's like in Gambian Sansekat, he is PhD level.
Na fila dore wala mum deme ko.
Where did they come from?
Mo joge mo follow la commencer.
Okay.
But I whatever I do, I just want to excel. Whatever I do, I want to excel at that. Yeah. But like some question being like, are you saying if there are any things that I didn't wear because of my culture, or what are you saying?
I'm Jaffa.
Yeah, especially modeling. There were certain things that I'm not Absolutely not. Madam said they have the cameras ready, they have the makeup people ready, they have stylists, everybody ready. In the year, like I don't agree with it. And I'm not embarrassed or I'm not ashamed to let you know, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with it or this doesn't align with me. And I feel like throughout my journey, I've gotten a lot closer to my dean. And as a result, I made it a point to really make sure I just follow through with whatever I believe in, because today it might be an opportunity, but for tomorrow it might be something that I'm ashamed of. Because at the end of the day, I think people don't understand that, like, you might be 20 today, you're gonna be 40 one day, inshallah.
That's very true.
You know, you're gonna be 45, you're gonna be 50. And I feel like people don't understand, whatever you put on the internet stays forever. And so there's certain things that even when I was the brokest, bro, when I did not have anything, I was still very mindful of those things. I'm like, at the end of the day, what message am I even trying to send to people? You know, and I feel like people trying to murky the way of, you know, masculinity and femininity. I feel like there's a way to touch into both, but there's a clear line that I feel like once you cross it, you crossed it. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't want to necessarily put myself in a predicament where I'm having to, like, be on tippy toes. Like, whatever I want to do and feel proud of. I want to be able to come here. You can take out any of my work and put it on the computer, and I'm like, okay, that's me. I can stamp it. You know, I don't want to do anything where I'm able to, like, you know, go to pray at a mosque somewhere or be like, oh, somebody's gonna see me and they're gonna be like, wow, questioning. You know what I'm saying? So all of those things I think about. You know, and you know, alhamdulillah, I've been able to. My journey took a lot longer, but I've been able to learn that discernment through the struggle, through me not being able to get there the way that I wanted to, if that makes sense. And I oftentimes say this, that if I would have gotten if I would have gotten to where I am now 3-4 years ago, I would have destroyed myself. I would have destroyed my life. And people don't understand that, because it's just like, I wasn't equipped enough to be able to handle the level of eyeballs, the level of temptation that comes about in this given moment, the, you know, level of opportunities, quote unquote, that might not necessarily agree with me, but because there's a price tag attached to it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And so sometimes the delayed, you know, success is a blessing, because it taught me and it allowed me to be able to mature into the man that I am today. You know, and that allowed me to really be able to move with a lot more purpose and a lot more precision, because I'm not just, you give me a money and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there. Like, for example, like a lot of gambling companies hit me up, like a lot of, and they, if you know gambling, they have the most bread.
They give you the bag.
Gambling has whatever a company pays you, they can double it, triple it.
Man.
Just like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's at the end of the day, the way that I operate and see myself, I don't want to take that money that, even if I wasn't Muslim, I don't want to take something that is going to put somebody in a bad predicament, because even if it's just one person, I feel ashamed that person might get hooked or get addicted to gambling because of a post that I made. And I think people don't understand. People don't look that further into it. So for me, I'd rather sit back and be like, you know what? This is not something that I really necessarily want to do. So I'm going to just say thank you for the opportunity, but I'm not the right person. Same thing when it comes to sometimes even deodorant. I use mostly like, you know, all natural aluminum-free deodorant. A Dove or something like that will reach out to me with a bag. But still, because I don't use it, I will feel like a hypocrite telling you to use something that I don't necessarily use myself. So whatever product I endorse or whatever fashion I wear is because this is something that I wear, or this is something that I deeply believe in. It's something that I see the benefit of in some way, or something that I think is not going to be harmful to other people. Because I, you know, like, I believe in the idea of like whatever you put into the world is what you're going to get. And also, you know, the idea of even limited mindset. Because me doing or agreeing with an opportunity that I don't agree with is me basically telling God that he's limited. You know, because it's me saying, oh wow, this opportunity is here. It's gonna, you know, it's gonna pass me. Well, but an opportunity in your hamga. Why yalla more in the opportunity. Muna in the benen buguna re.
And sometimes it's a test.
You know what I'm saying? It's a test. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just kind of how I operate. I make sure that like whatever I do, obviously I'm not perfect, but whatever I do, I try to be in the most sincere in how I go about operating my business. So that way I don't like purposefully put anybody in jeopardy. I don't want to push any products or any, you know, mindset or anything of that sort that I feel like would put somebody at a disadvantage. That just doesn't align with me, who I am personally.
Ibrahima, you asked a very important question.
That's a very good response because of bari na ñi nekk si biti di bëgg a def lu moo def wala bëgg a aaga fu moo aaga. It's good mu share lii su ko defee gars yi sóoraale ëllëg comme nu mu wax today we are 20 ëllëg dina nekk 40 or more so nañ publish loo xam ne suñ doomi wala suñ sitaati suñ ko gisee duñ ci am gàcce.
te léegi your public profile is your resume.
Exactly.
Gis ngeen American embassy lu mu just génne wax.
Yes.
You know léegi pour am visa
social media.
da nga war a taal sa social media privacy bi
Exactly.
pour ñu mun koo gis. If not duñ la jox visa.
Yeah.
So loolu mu ngi laa min ne sa track record. soo demee di juutu di def yenn si biir social media. No, it's true though.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's very
Oh,
true.
yaa ngi toog si corner bi yaa ngi xam nga
Wala,
di def yenn. It goes back to value.
True.
Lan ngaa indi suñ dëkka. suñ ko bugutee te xam nga it's discrimination que seen dëkka la. lu leen neex la ñoo def te léegi algorithm la sax. léegi tubaab bi sax duñ ne tubaab bi machine ba la gën a decline. But I think it's important because yen sa maanoo in terms of a public platform te bugga naa nga laal loolu sax because when we started the show maanoo wax booy ne there's a responsibility that comes along with kula jox platform. Because te léegi lampa nu mu dee lakkee noonu la dee leerale. Right? te loo wax mun nga koo réccu waaye mun loo koo génne si internet bi. te ñu bari duñ dee understand the responsibility that being on a public platform has. It's history. Every single conversation buñ am right now is history. Meaning mënuloo koo génne bu njëkk bi dañoo ne non moo waxut loolu de maa ngi fa woon. non ma ne link baa ngi nii lii la wax. So moo tax man dama ne wane foog nga doo di xalaat sa with the responsibility but xale yi dañ war a xam ne yes di nga nekk mag. di nga toog bés nga xalaata nga nekk góor. sa doom bu jigéen mag. dem si internet bi gis ne suma pa moo def lii suma pa nii la meloon wala nga nekk doom bu góor nga dem si internet bi gis ne nekk suma yaay lii la def lii doo ko mën a génnee so it comes with a responsibility but also Mo also supports a lot of black brands te man loolu foog ma wax ko because there's been a lot of times where people ñoo xam ne xëy na amuñ that much exposure black people that are starting businesses you show love you know my younger brother was one of them Ibrahima you know he has a headwear line Brima as well too Mo was one of the first people who really showed him love.
That's your brother?
That's my younger brother.
What?
ñoo bokk ndey baay.
I swear I did not know.
Yeah, ñoo bokk ndey baay
Yeah.
and Ibrahima didn't even know that we used to exchange information but he saw a brand like he literally changed the way durags are made completely. And Mo was one of the first people that literally like showed him love on his platform and I meant to tell you that thank you you know in person because it meant a lot to him as well too because munon nga yek sa bopa tamit. The Lord is important because a lot of people that have a lot of access you could pick and choose whoever you want to represent because it matters as well too. So I just want to tell you thank you on behalf of the family because it meant a lot to him. He was excited when he posted about you know the product. Because he was proud of also what you were doing. So that's part of who you are.
I'm grateful,
Yeah,
man. I swear I didn't even know. I just saw that he was Gambian, and I was just like, "Yo, I'm just gonna show love." But that's crazy. I swear I did not know. This is my first time hearing about this. That's crazy.
Just wanted to add, what he said, the question Ibrahima asked about him because that's important. Even Legis are in the Gambian music scene, we see in scenarios like that, just wanting to get somewhere or wanting to be somewhere. You understand? After they put them to a situation where you do things that you really regret. Time being you get a very, gay thingy, in the Gambian music industry. So more in a platform where gis amount of money that is putting in place. So certain things, sukon nangorek, legacy bill, he would do worse than that. You understand? Tell hamne mom am that concept I have to have kids or I have kids. They all have to grow up. You understand? What's the image that their dad will be portraying there? What's the image that the world will be seeing me? Understand?
And he's in an industry where it's almost expected. Hollywood, once you're in that space, you gotta start dealing with a jigger. It could be a dark place.
Why so buy her leg, they're pushing more of that gay agenda. Anywhere you go, any movie you watch, most of them you will see, especially now they're pushing the male characters. You see a black cool guy is he's doing some nonsense, man.
This guy Musa bull them fofu.
No, bro.
In a way, it's a responsibility because we're also very tricky. That's a human issue.
Yeah.
Right? I'm very careful in terms of like like how the conversations around homosexuality that we have. I don't endorse it because, I have my own personal beliefs. But at the end of the day, that's as old as humanity. Because sometimes there's human beings at the back end of a lot of prosecution. You have a really dark past when it comes to how human beings were treated. That we have to be mindful in terms of how we touch about it.
To piggyback on what he's saying, I mean, that is what you're saying is true. But, sometimes there are certain things you just don't try to find them out. Just leave it alone.
But curiosity,
if you do research, right, what he's saying about like the movies, if you notice, like you do see the LGBTQ community be represented in the fashion industry, in the movie industry, in the music industry, in corporations. There's actually like a body that's established, right, that give corporations calls based on how much representation you have.
Yes, but also society Buneka has the right to govern on the same way.
There is that aspect of it.
Anything that infringes on a human right, I see people as human first. That's just my philosophy as a human being.
How I operate
right?
too.
And I have a lot of people that I genuinely love who Kunyoy Tedel is none of my business because
No, of course. That's what I agree with what you're saying. It is an old practice. It's not new, so we cannot be surprised when we're seeing these things on screen. Definitely not. I mean, I know people who I respect who their personal life is none of my business, right? It's for me. It's always
Pushing
comes
the
down
agenda.
to is to push it. That's what I have a problem with. I think people are who they are. I don't care what you are. Your personal life is your personal life. I don't expect someone to, want to know about my personal life. It's none of your business. But when you're now putting personal out, I'm thinking of kids. I'm thinking of people that have access to Netflix and social media, and then there's like an agenda. There's a machine that is pushing this to normalize it.
You censor it.
The way I look at it is, the first time I've ever really understood about like, the LGBTQ or just homosexuality in general was maybe 2010. That was my first time I've really been exposed to it. It was what?
True,
maybe
actually.
300, 400 people that lived in my village all my life. So there's certain things that I was
It's a
just
foreign concept.
completely oblivious to. But one thing I realized is that like just like he said, I respect a person as a human first. And so for me, whatever your title is, that's what it is. All I know is I can control my actions and I can control my intentions. And that's all I can control. So I can't control anything else. And so the way I operate, because it's one thing too, even though our religion doesn't endorse it, and I personally am not necessarily saying, but I do believe a person can live however they see fit, because at the end of the day, I can't judge. And I feel like I'm flawed myself, so I don't necessarily, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of try to stay, but the only way I know is if I see you, or if I see anybody and they, lean towards a certain particular sexuality, that's necessarily, I just keep that conversation or keep that kind of like mindset away, but it doesn't negate the way that I would maybe necessarily interact with you, because the job that I do is like I'm literally surrounded by majority gay people.
Absolutely.
And so for me, I had to really learn to just, I've always known to respect people, because you're not gonna just automatically disrespect somebody. I feel like as long as someone is not necessarily like violating my rights, I don't have any problem with what you're doing, because at the end of the day, all I know is I can control me, and that's about it, So I just operate through that. But I do understand what you're saying in terms of
pushing it. But
man, I'm just talking about just the machine. Even the again, the thing about this, if you look into it, I respect people as they come. I see you as a human. I actually do not see people, based on your gender, based on your sexuality. I just take you as you come, right? If you come with principles and with respect, and you have something that I value, I respect. I don't care if you're white, you're pink, you're this, you're that. No. I'm talking about that there's a machine, and if you look into it, you'll find it. Just like how, for example, I don't know if people know this, but in sci-fi movies, the Pentagon has a budget for Hollywood.
Yeah, of course.
right?
Of course.
They make sure if you're putting out a movie, you have to showcase America as
Yeah,
this.
but propaganda.
So that's what I'm saying. So this element, it trickles down to even food, right? Like you know, like how you should not
pharmaceutical
body
industry.
shame. Definitely, you should not body shame. But promoting unhealthy habits, there's a machine behind it.
Yeah.
And
right?
the pharmaceutical industry benefits from it.
Yeah.
But I mean, when it comes to
So these are the issues. It's not necessarily the individual, but the system.
But turn the TV off.
That's why when
sometimes we literally just need to turn the TV off.
Yeah.
And then you double down on instilling values that are ours and yours.
Into your kids.
Yeah, of course.
Because this
ala bi yar sa doom.
No.
No,
Ba
definitely
pare
not.
nga xamee loolu lu mu fa jëlee yaruloo ko. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? Anything in the society, and I think why we can't even touch more about the music industry and the film industry. I feel like anybody who's creating anything in this world has a responsibility.
yeah.
The same way you could say the music is promoting like drug violence and violence, but they don't have an infrastructure in terms of when people are addicted.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope. Society just needs to be more responsible. And if you're given a platform, you understand that comes with a responsibility to do good. Because you could do bad, you could do good. Even religion could be used for propaganda in a way that harms society.
Yeah.
So we just have to be more mindful of that.
You know, I want to touch upon on that end, and I want to give flowers to Pasalu.
Yeah.
I think like his
African rebel.
like literally just seeing how his music has evolved
Yep.
throughout time
Yep.
is literally just so beautiful. There's certain songs that I personally can't listen to. There's certain songs that just once I hear certain things, I just automatically turn off. But now the way that he's been making music has been completely different. It's been
His sound is
like
different.
it sounds different, and it's the energy, the frequency, the vibe, and everything is different. And one thing I see, you know, the Gambian music scene, that I don't listen to a lot of like rappers and stuff of that sort, because I feel as though they're trying to emulate too much of, you know, hip hop culture, like drill music and all of this stuff. And it's what I feel like what they don't understand is that the world is actually moving away from that. I feel like Gambians are always late to the trend for the most part, because the drill music that they now like locking into is things that people are like, yo, this is low vibrational music. This is low vibrational.
That's a rapper over there, by the way.
Yeah. They be like, this is low
in their community. Listen up.
You know, they be like, this is low vibrational frequency. People are already moving
They've
ahead of
shifted.
that. That's why drill music is kind of like dying out. And but it's, you know, and I feel like, it's funny sometimes because I feel like Gambian artists are sometimes even creating this beef or this I'm like, bro, what are you saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't even make any sense. You can make amazing music without necessarily like, you know,
Beefing
having
each
to
other.
do this. Or it doesn't make any sense. You know, and so I think we need to start holding a lot of these people accountable. And I think we need to start figuring out a way to come together and really understand that the voice or the art that they putting out there doesn't just, you might be, you know, mature enough to understand that like this is right from wrong, but your child might not. No. And
that's
the thing is,
that's the scary part.
you can't control what your child consumes in this day and age.
Everything
That's
that I'm saying,
I see
it's
what you're
all
saying.
about how your child would consume, because you cannot control cannot control it.
That's true.
And you know, sound is it's a very powerful tool.
It's
you know,
spiritual.
How, you know, it's and sometimes when we talk about sound having vibration, like you mentioned, there are scientific explanations for these things. How frequency actually affects the fluid in your body.
It could heal you. 432 hertz
Hertz,
is actually
yeah.
healing frequency. Right? That could literally repair your nervous system for a short amount of time. It reduces anxiety sometimes more than some pharmaceutical agents.
Yeah.
The science is proven.
And most of the people believe that, you know, those were the things that they use, you know, to build the pyramids, because those blocks, you know, one cannot lift it up there, you know, they say that they use sound.
I'm not William, not going to want to hitch up with Mudelsi, but I'm more sober.
Yeah, he's going deep.
That's a
Right,
conversation
but
for
different.
different. No, I mean, it is. There's a logical explanation for it. Sound actually levitates.
Yes, sound.
Like it's been scientifically, like it's been done in a lab where they suspended liquid.
Yeah, of course.
Using sound frequency.
Yeah.
But how did they lift those? However ton blocks
But
with
God,
sound? We don't
they
know.
say God made the art and made all of these things except us. You know, He made from His hand, but everything else he made through his mouth.
You just say B and
Words,
it is.
yes, it's a sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, we've went through a lot of topics
Definitely,
as well.
man.
Mo, thank you for this, brother.
Yeah, really
I'm proud of
appreciate
you, man. You're such a light on this world, and we're just proud to know that there's Gambian in you, and you've taken it everywhere you went. There's so many things that we could have talked about: the fitness, the health, the nutrition. I feel like most modern men, you could follow things that don't add value, or you could follow things that tell you to eat right, pray, live a modern lifestyle, keep your deen, speak positive when you speak. All those things are things people see. And I feel like oftentimes as Gambians, we don't echo ours louder, but you really are proud of this nation in a way that I think you should have been doing more for Gambia with your platform. I think more Gambians should follow you. So definitely let people know where they could follow you. But hopefully you'll start coming back, collaborating with creatives here. Whatever you're doing in terms of Pan-Africanism, I think there's a space in Gambia as well too for us to change the narrative, because it just takes a collective. And you are one of the thought leaders now, and so I'm glad you're realizing that. And obviously the things you're doing with fashion with Baba also. Baba should be talked about every day in Gambia. He's so big around the world. But the average Gambian, we follow sometimes people that don't add value in this world.
We don't celebrate people while they're still alive.
No, man. But you went out of your way
we really don't.
to reach out to me, and we connected. So it's really, really glad. I'll allow people to kind of leave their parting words. And Taimom Yai Jambarr of the week. Because Jambarr Deganga, man. Dokundao, man. So we'll allow people to wrap it up, and then we'll give more an opportunity to send parting words as well. Greenwood, 2 minutes. Wait, after 2 minutes.
Pyramid.
No. No, go beneen yoon. All right. It has been a very informative and educative conversation, and I'm really proud of our brother here. And just the conversation, it gave me another motivation. It gave me another aspect to view or to look at things in a different way. And. Yeah, man, thank you. And shout out to all that are here present. You guys are the Jambarr of the week. Because whatever you're doing is not just for you. It's for the people out there. It's for that person that is watching, that person that is listening, to get something out of it that would benefit that person. So once you doing this, all that I can say is thank you guys very much, and thanks to the people that are watching. And let's know your feedbacks, and let's know what you think, through the comment section. Thank you.
Ibrahim?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Mo for joining us today. And then feel na ne jàng nañ si lu bari. Story bu mu share tax nañu xam fu mu jaar ak fu mu àgg yëpp naka la ko méegee. And di wax ne rek hope ne ñu nekk si biti xale yi nga xam ne ñu ngi grow pour nekk lu mu nekk wala di def lu moo def, they learn from it and know ne nekkut magic, nekkut loo xam ne dafa happen overnight. Dina jël time with dedication and dina àgga fu mu mën a àgga. maa ngi jox a big shout out to my little bro Tijan Sinyan koo xam ne he's doing something like him.
Tijan Sinyan.
Exactly, because mu ngi work with fashion brands tamit, trying to do something like he does, and I feel ne dina jàng lu bari si sa story, and hopefully mu àgga fi nga àgga tey.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Inshallah.
Mohamed Gando Ba, boy, man, I use your government name.
So I guess just emphasis on people putting the work to learn useful knowledge. Entertainment will never end. It's only going to get better and more addictive. So if entertainment is worth what you've made your life purpose, then you're in for a very, very dark, depressing journey. But thank you Mo for coming on the Daily Dose. We definitely appreciate what you're doing out there. I follow you. I actually have the notification. So whenever you post, I see it on my feed. Vision Pro, definitely want to experience that.
When I come back, I'll definitely bring you for sure. I got you. I'll bring you so you can try it.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, man. Doc, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Campeh Jambarr, always a nice.
It took 16 episodes, Punganyo.
I know. I've been kind of, staying away from the limelight, but Nyam Deri. They found ways to drag me back, and here I am again.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Mo, Tagato,
Yeah,
anything
man.
that you want to leave the Gambian people, the West African people, the African people, Black people around the world, everybody around the world. Just anything that you want to.
Nah, yeah, overall, like, jërëjëf rek laa wax xam nga parce que am na yenn yu bëri yu nga xam ne nii man jàng naa ko waaye it's hard for me to kind of put it into words for a lot of people to understand because léegi mun naa làkk wala fu set wecc waaye lu ma dee thinki lu ma dee xalaat yëpp gën a wàll si English laa ko dee xalaatee parce que suma audience bi yëpp English la xam nga waaye yow dana ma la war a wax daal jërëjëf parce que you made me so prideful in a lot of things. You made me so much more prideful in my culture and my language. I don't think I follow anybody that speak Wolof better than this guy. Because I was telling you, like,
true.
you know, like the way he just is able to articulate medical terms and all of these things and explain it and break it down to the point where like my grandmother can literally like understand every single thing you're saying.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I mean, he has a gift.
You know what I'm saying? And it takes a lot of work to get there. And I also want to, you know, let people know the level of sacrifice that it takes for you to be here. Sure. You know, and I think a lot of people don't understand that you could be doing anything else. You could be doing so many more things, but you dedicated your life, I would say, sort of say, in wanting to uplift and help the Gambian youth, especially Gambian men. And I feel like oftentimes it's been the blind leading the blind. And, you know, like you can, a lot of people will listen when you speak. You know, and I feel like you have utilized and used your voice to pour into people, and that doesn't go unnoticed. Like every single time I see like a post, I'm always very excited, always very, you know, optimistic because I know I'm always gonna leave learning something or hearing my people speak something that I haven't heard of in a very long time. And I just want to like definitely give you your flowers for that, and just give your flowers to everybody else that kind of, you know, adds into the conversation. I'll be laughing so many. I'll be laughing so much. It'd be so funny, but I feel as though you guys don't even understand the depth and the level of impact that you guys are having, creating a platform like this where people are literally able to come and learn from people that they can relate to. And I feel like your voice is so important that I just want to leave that don't ever stop speaking. And I feel like you don't understand how many people you're actually reaching, because I've heard of, you know, the podcast a lot, but even regardless of whether it's 1 viewer, 2 viewer, 3 viewer, you know, just keep on going because you actually are making a lot bigger of an impact than you think you are, because our people need you. Like our people need you more than you think. Our people need this platform, this safe space where we're able to talk about a lot of the things that we were not able to talk about. You know, and like it's definitely, I have so much respect and so much love and admiration and just, you know, wishful thinking for you guys. And I know that it could have been something that you maybe make to speak to everybody else, but you have dedicated it to a very small demographic in a sense where it kind of limits you in a sense, you know, and all of those things I think about, you know, and that sacrifice that it takes, because at the end of the day, this is your time, your energy, the money that it takes for you to come here and literally be able to create something of this sort is something very, very inspirational, motivational. And I'm very, very, very humbled and inspired to keep on going and keep on pouring back into our people, because at the end of the day, we are all we got. And I feel like you don't only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. And I feel like anybody that listens to you and can take anything away from that is that, you know, we can do for our own, and we can do great doing for our own as well. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for that, and thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for showing so much love and for all your kind words. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. I'm very, very grateful and very humbled.
Of course. Thank you, brother. Ligay Yalala. You know, Ligay Yalala at the end of the day, man. To God be the glory. Yeah. I think we're in an exciting time, you know, as people, we're able to connect, we're able to have good impact. Because any single day, Yala mun nanyo yobo.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Why, man, I have a philosophy in this. I say better how mom the faham ne lumma johiet ligay na. I didn't leave. I'm squeezing this lemon to the core of man. Yo mom nanga wala na gina no pala kusa. But Sante Yala, just giving a shout out to the rest of our brothers that are not there. Dr. Sahna just got back from Mecca. di ñaan tamit yàlla nangu ñaani from Jambarr Njie, Pap Njie, Omar Nyang.
Yeah, man.
Who else are we missing? Kemo, just all the brothers who've really just dedicated. I think they've grown over the season as well too.
Yeah.
In terms of understanding being in the limelight.
No,
when
definitely.
everywhere they go to, people know his Afra story. You know, your as the Heartbreak King.
No, definitely.
But just the take rek, they want Jerejef Sunyini de Setan Gambian here, Gambians in the diaspora, our partners in Daily Dose, Panderi, Gando, the rest of the team. And they continue to Watandrek. I'm gonna just leave the conversation with something important. I think in the next 18 months, we could either be distracted as a people because we're entering the political season that sometimes makes us forget that we are one nation, all our problems are the same. And we may prioritize things that really don't matter. And then we have to wake up the day after election, Kufayala Tech, we have to pick ourselves back up as a nation. And then we'll still be losing as a nation because Gambia is behind. So the Nyan, the digital Jama, the GNL togetherness, Hamne, like we all lose if we're not just prioritizing each other and improving the conversations we have to topato and that we dekabi. Why did they lose in Kilify at the same time as well too? So Jerejef, until we come again, wassalam.